Hello kids, how are you all? I believe everything is going fine. Please stay safe. So from this video we'll be learning very basic thing, which is introducing yourself or tell about yourself, right? So this will help you wherever you go. For example, even after completing your school, when you go and join at your college, the first thing that you have to do, introduce yourself. Your professor or teacher might ask you to introduce yourself even at your school, right? So it's very important that we introduce ourselves properly. So that's what we are going to learn from this video. Shall we begin? So the very first thing that you have to tell when someone asks you to introduce about yourself, you have to tell your name, your date of birth, your parents' name and occupation. Occupation means the profession or jobs that your parents are doing. For example, Lara's mother, for example, if you take Lara's mother is a doctor, then she should introduce as that I am Lara and I was born on January 22, 2000, and my father's name is Raj and my mother's name is Kamala, and my mother is a doctor. Likewise, you have to introduce, and you can tell about where you stay, residence, right? Residence means the place where you stay. Class, for example, if you are studying 5th standard, you can tell that you are studying 5th standard. If you are studying 6th standard, you can tell that you are studying 6th standard. And finally your school name. So these are all the things that you have to tell at first when someone asks you to introduce yourself. Let's see what and all you have to introduce one by one. So the next thing that you have to introduce is your family. You can tell about your parents, grandparents, siblings and etc. For example, who earns money for your family? Is it your father or mother? Who cooks food for your family? Is it your mom or dad? Who helps you to learn your lesson? Is it your both parents or sister or brother? For example, when I was a child, my sister used to help me to learn my lessons. Likewise, you might have an elder brother or elder sister or uncle who might really help you to learn your lessons, right? You can tell that too when you are introducing about your family. And you can also tell if you have a brother or sister. If you have, then you have to tell what they are doing. For example, if your sister or brother studying or they are kindergartens, you can tell that too. So the next thing that you can talk about, once you have introduced your family, you can tell about your favorite things such as color, favorite food, clothing style, role model. For example, my role model is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was a scientist and he invented many things which made our country so proud, and he was very dedicated towards his work. So I like him very much and he is my role model. Likewise, if you have any role model, you can tell that too while introducing your favorite things. And you can talk about your favorite subject and what is the reason that you like that subject the most. For example, my favorite subject is science because whenever I try to learn something new from science, it makes me really interesting. It makes me want to learn more. So I like science. Likewise, you might have some favorite subject, then you have to tell the reason why you like that subject the most. You can talk about your strengths and weakness, games, your favorite games, TV program and hobbies, and you can also tell your best friend and why he is so close to you. You can also introduce or tell what you learned from other people. For example, from your parents, at school what you learned. For example, from our parents, as a child we learned how to communicate, right? How to speak our mother tongue. Likewise, at school we learned how to be very disciplined, right? From your teacher you must have learned many subjects, many disciplinary things. From your grandparents, you must have learned how to be very polite, calm, and be good. From your friends, you must have learned how to be very happy. Likewise, you can tell whatever you feel that is important that and good that you learned from other people. You can also tell that while introducing yourself. So far we have seen how to introduce ourselves with lot of examples, starting with name and favorite things and what did we learn from others. Likewise, right? Likewise, Karthik also has introduced himself properly. We'll see that with the example. I am Karthik. I was born on 14th October 2000 and I am 10 years old. My father name is Gopal. He is an engineer. My mother, Mrs. Soumya, is a homemaker. I live with my parents at Valicheri in Chennai. I'm studying 6th standard at Himayam Matriculation Higher Secondary School. See how we have seen with the first example, Karthik also introduced himself properly with his name and his age and his date of birth, his parents' occupation, and where does he live, residence, right, remember, and what class is he studying, from which school he is studying. So he has introduced properly. Let's see how he has introduced his family details. My father earns money for our family. My mother cooks delicious food for us and she also helps me to learn my lessons at home. My native place is Madurai. My grandparents, Mr. Ravi and Mrs. Malini, are staying with us. For example, see, like we saw in our example, he told that his father is the sole person who earns money for his family, and his mother cooks food as well as she helps him to learn his lesson. Or else, in your case, if your parents are not helping you to learn your lessons, you might have your tuition teacher or somebody else might be helping you. You can include that here. And if your grandparents are not living with you, you can tell that where they are living. For example, in Karthik case, his grandparents are staying at Madurai at Old House. Likewise, you can say that while introducing your family details. Now let's see further how he has introduced more about his family. During summer vacation, we used to go and meet our grandparents. We used to buy fruits for grandparents while we visit. My grandmother is fond of sweets and likes to wear cotton saris. So we buy sweets and cotton saris when we visit. So how beautifully he has introduced about his grandparent father, right? Likewise, you can introduce very properly with starting with your name and your family details and your favorite things. Finally, what you learned from other people. Likewise, you can so many other things. For example, what is your aim in your life? What do you want to become and why? Do you want to become a sport person or a scientist or an astronaut? You can decide that. You can say that also while introducing yourself. So this is how you have to introduce properly when someone asks you to tell about yourself or introduce yourself. Okay guys, I hope you learned. If you have any doubt, you can contact me in the comment below. Thank you guys. Take care.